Hey, what's up guys, it's Kai and welcome to my channel. Today we're doing another video responding to Brandy Sheets because she had another live stream in which she spoke a lot of shit. I'm also going to be sharing another small update video about Brandy Sheets at the same time as this video, so if you want to check it out, the link will be in the description or in the cards. That one gets a little sassy.
Hey guys, so I apologize, I had some audio issues yesterday, or the day before, whenever I made the video, so I have adjusted those. I haven't made a video in a while, so when I reset my computer, my settings were off, but I tried to do this again. And I'm going to talk today about an amazing video that was sent to me, and it was actually sent to me because Trey Smith put a clip of my video into this video.
I was going to watch the video that she mentioned, but that thing was 2 hours long, and I don't have time for that. I've got degrees to get, so I'm just going to be responding to the points that Brandy brings up, and I hope you guys are okay with that.
But, and hey guys, how are you? I'm going to check, can you hear me okay? Because I had some audio issues the other day and I didn't realize. Hey video board. So let me know if you can hear me pretty clearly. Thanks, Noel. So what I started out saying is, I'm going to talk a little bit, hey Samantha, about this video that Trey Smith made. Hey Amanda. A very slight whizzing noise. Still? Okay, I'm going to just... Okay, sound is good. Okay, it may be something in the background. So, this video that Trey Smith made, I don't know if you guys know who he is. He has a ton of followers, subscribers, almost 300,000. And his video called The Day of Reckoning was actually sent to me by a friend because there was a clip of one of my videos in there where I was speaking about coming under attack for trying to raise money to feed people. And in watching I watched the video in its entirety, this was such an amazing video. I mean, I was so emotional watching this. And I wanted to go over a few things that he talked about in this video. I don't have the link in the description yet because I can't copy and paste when I open Streamlabs. So as soon as I'm done, I'll edit and put the link to the video in the description. Hey, Cobus. In this video, I didn't really know who Kim Clement was, but I was very emotional watching this video because it speaks a lot about America as well as South Africa. And I definitely wasn't expecting a video so long going into the history of South Africa and speaking the truth about what the ANC is doing, from denying people food to all of the issues, the corruption, the murder of farmers. He went over the Battle of Blood River. It was just so much. I'm trying not to cry. But in part of this video, he shows a man named Dr. Davis. He's an American, I believe, and he had been working in Africa, and he was thought to have the cure for AIDS. And Fox News even talked about this, but all of it's so hard to find. It's been whitewashed off the internet.
It's been what?
Whitewashed off the internet.
Excuse me, huh?
Whitewashed.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you said. I can continue.
He goes on to show some of Kim Clement's words, and he actually shows some clips of Senior Bennett's words as well. And Kim Clement, as I said, I didn't really know exactly who he was, but there's a part where he speaks about taking down the giant, and what he said was, communist and communism. And he says, and this is way before Trump ever came, he says that there will be a man, not under Obama, that will come, and that he will end up meeting with Kim Jong-un, right? Crazy. He says this man has been collecting stones for the giant.
Are you talking about Thanos? I mean, I know Thanos is actually a Titan, but come on. Hey, I'm sorry. Please tell me more about this man who talks to invisible magical people.
And that kind of just made me emotional and blew me away because I know all of us are wondering what goes on behind the scenes and if anything's being done. And, I often say that I refuse to believe that nothing is being done. And, Kim Clement even spoke on kind of what's happening with the COVID-19. He said that there was going to be something that would come for the world, and that it was odd, that it wasn't like 9/11, but it was something else that would hurt the economy.
Given our planet's history and human history especially, that's not that big of a prediction. Plagues have happened routinely throughout our history, and things that damage the economy have happened even more frequently throughout our history. Plus, I think people on the internet have been joking about when the next plague would hit for several years. Part of that is a lot of us turning our craving for death into humor, but I digress.
And, I forget everything he said, but, it was just really interesting. I mean, you guys have to watch this video. You have to. In the video, Trey Smith also speaks on, the fact that, South Africa, the universities have a passing degree for blacks that's only at 30%. That's despicable. And it's pretty racist that you think that that's all that they're capable of, right? Maybe if you put the bar higher, people would seek to achieve.
Brandy spreading false information again. What a shock. In South Africa, in order to pass grades 10 to 12, you have to get at least 40% in 3 of your subjects, one of which has to be your home language. You also have to get 30% or more in another 3 subjects. That means you are allowed to fail a subject completely and still pass the year. We also have a system in which a matric student can receive a forgiveness of up to 2% in one subject, but only if that 2% in that one subject pushes the overall average mark of the student to a 30% pass or a 40% pass. This is available to all students regardless of race and can only be applied to the matric examination marks. While a 30% or a 40% pass will mean that you matriculate, you would only get a certificate pass. That means you can only go on to study a certificate course or a college. You cannot go higher, and you definitely cannot study a degree from there. Step up with that would be the matric diploma pass. With that certificate, you can go on to study diploma courses or at a technicon. Still not a good degree pass. The highest one is then bachelor degree pass, which you can then use to go and study actual degrees at university, provided your marks are good enough for the thing that you want to study. So no, a 30% is not a degree pass, and these systems aren't just for black people. The bar is low for everyone, because our education department thinks we're all dumb.
Weird things. Noel says, falsely said and lobbied saying that HIV caused AIDS, which is a lie. There are millions of people in Africa and around the world who live with AIDS and never get AIDS through their lives.
Okay, Brandy, since you didn't correct your commenter, I'm going to assume you agree with them and respond to it. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome is a lifelong condition that is caused by severe and permanent damage to one's immune system. The only thing humans know that is strong enough to cause this damage is the human immunodeficiency virus. Some websites have even called AIDS stage 3 HIV. That's not common, but it's out there. What I'm saying is AIDS is completely caused by HIV. But contracting HIV does not 100% mean that you will get AIDS. The probability of that is very dependent on the severity of your case and whether or not you follow the suggested treatment plan prescribed by your certified healthcare provider.
I'm a little confused, I don't know. Dr. Fossey, I don't trust Dr. Fossey. I saw a rare clip in this video. There's a rare clip of Dr. Davis, and you have to see it, actually. You have to watch it. It's quite long, but it's worth seeing into its entirety, the whole video. He also speaks on, the AIDS being denied to whites during this time, and so much more. You guys will relate to it so much. But one thing he says that makes perfect sense was, South Africa just being handed over to the ANC.
Handed it over? Of course, because we didn't vote or anything. It's not like it was like the biggest first democratic election ever. No, of course not. We just handed it over. After all the protesting and riots and stuff, no, we just handed it over. Just have it. Jesus H. Christ, Brandy, please open any book not written by a racist white man. Because honestly, this is disgusting. I don't even think you know how Google works at this point.
That's like if one of the other African countries, if they went and said, okay, we want Egypt. This is our country now. And the world said, okay, and handed them Egypt. And they said, okay, they can no longer practice their religion. They can't speak their language. This is our country now, which was basically what was done with South Africa. It would never happen. The world would not allow it to happen, right? Only in South Africa. And this was a good analogy of what happened in South Africa. Where else in the world can foreigners go into a country, cause mass chaos, and have the country handed to them? Just because they don't have a country that is that nice or prosperous.
Foreigners? 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 Foreigners! Randy, the Xhosa tribes were in South Africa long before the Dutch and the British decided to violently take over anyway. But not to mention, the founders of the ANC were South African. They were born here. Do you think that the word foreigner means anyone who isn't white? 'Cause honey, that's not what it means. And actually what you're describing sounds a lot more like how white people took over the country. They saw economical and ecological advantages to having this land and walked in and said, hey, this is ours now. They changed everything about life for the people already living here and chased down and murdered anyone who did not adopt an anglicized way of life. The original inhabitants were no longer allowed to practice their religions because they had to adopt Christianity. The original inhabitants were no longer allowed to speak their languages because white people were mad that they couldn't understand them. And let's not forget that the original inhabitants could no longer practice their cultural beliefs and rituals because white people are so intrinsically afraid of what they don't understand that they don't even bother to try. They don't try to learn. They don't try to broaden their horizons. They don't try to see another point of view or to see everyone else as equal. Instead, they spend years stripping people of color of their cultures and then appropriating them for money. For someone complaining about our shitty education system, you are very, very uninformed and uneducated about the topic that you are basing your channel around. The audacity of you makes me sick.
And something else that's interesting is, I was doing some research on George Soros, and speaking of the internet being whitewashed.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
It doesn't make any sense. And something else that's interesting is, I was doing some research on George Soros, and speaking of the internet being whitewashed, I had to go to an alternative browser to find any real information. You can't find a negative story, or it is very hard to find one negative story about Soros, Ramaphosa, the ANC. I mean, you have to really search and change around your words and to find anything credible.
I'd argue that this isn't actually a problem on our side because as a South African, it is very easy for me to find negative information on the ANC. Very easy. Horrifically easy to find negative information about anyone, really, as a South African using our browsers. However, I have heard that the press and the news in America is not as open and free as it is here and in some other places. Once again, I'm getting my information from friends and family who have gone to visit the States or have gone to stay in the States, as well as friends who currently live there, so I may be wrong as it is not, first-hand information. However, everything I've heard about the state of the press in America is that it's very difficult to find news that isn't just general or propaganda that's from outside of your state, much less outside of the country. When my mum visited the States, she said that she was very frustrated at not being able to find news articles or just information in general that wasn't superficial about other states or back home here in South Africa. She got very frustrated with only being able to know about what was happening where she was at that time. So once again, I don't think this is a problem on us. I think it's because your government censors what you can find. And that's on you, sweetie. Also, you might have a harder time finding negative stuff about the ANC right now because aside from Zuma's ex-wife trying to make a profit off of her black market cigarettes, things have been generally okay. We doing well with the ANC and they're actually doing a pretty good job when it comes to the lockdown. Obviously they're not perfect, but they're doing better than America. It's not hard.
All they find is just bullshit stories, praising everything they're doing, and telling you how good they are. I mean, no wonder the entire world is freaking brainwashed.
I mean, do I need to explain the irony? I don't think I do. You all have brains, you understand.
It's just despicable. I mean, it's just showing you that they are suppressing information, which, the fact that we can't put anything up on social media that's the truth, the hate that is openly shared on social media for the white minority in South Africa, if we do, then we are banned for hate speech. If we put up the crime scene photos, we are either inciting violence or they're too graphic, right? So this was one reason I created the website.
She talks about not being able to post the truth online about how white prejudice is openly spread on the internet from South Africans, and also says that she now puts those posts onto her website, which I will totally react to in a video if you want me to. But I bet I can tell you what she doesn't do. She doesn't do any research outside of talking to her small-town racist white friends, and thus her truth is actually false. And I bet she doesn't put all her racist posts on her website from South Africans either. All the white people online being absolute forking bigots. I bet those aren't on her site, because that would go against her narrative. Showing that there are bad folks in all races wouldn't justify her racism, and showing that it's mostly white South Africans who are racially prejudiced wouldn't help her spread her lies and her propaganda. Oh, I'm sorry, Brandy. Did I call you out for being a fucking hypocrite? Oh, my bad.
ANC sanctioned genocide, so that I could put up every single one of these images and every single one of these screenshots of hate posted openly online, and no one could ever take it down, so that the truth could be seen by the world. And you guys might have to start over on my website, but I've been working really hard on it. You should go and check it out because it's looking pretty good, and I've got a lot of information up on the documents and information page. On the blog page, I just posted a story that it was written by a man for the Telegraph in the UK about Annette Keneally and her murder, and it's actually an amazing story, but you had to pay to see it, so I took it and put it on my blog page so that everyone could see it.
You stole it, you mean? You committed a crime. That's what you did. You committed a crime. In case you guys didn't know, stealing intellectual property is illegal.
So go over and read that because it's a really great story. And it just goes more into her life and about what happened. Another thing that he showed on this video was Ramaphosa speaking in Parliament, and he was assuring the Zulu king that he was not going to try to take his land, right? So he was saying that we are concerned for our people. We are going to make sure that our people have land and opportunities, and he kept saying our people. And Tara Lakota stood up and made a huge scene. He actually started yelling, and he told him, who is not our people? You say you're going to take land from people and give it to our people. Who in this country is not our people? Tell me what you mean when you say our people, because I want to know who is not our people and who is our people in the country. And of course, he was, cowed down and silenced.
Brandy, just because your criteria for our people includes skin color doesn't mean everyone's does. When the South African president says our people, he means South Africans, regardless of skin color. At most, you can maybe think that his use of our people could maybe be xenophobic, but even that is going really far.
Mikhail makes a good point. He says Ramaphosa is a fool if he believes the blacks are united as one. They hate each other even more than different European in times of war. Yes, that is something else he spoke on, that the different tribes, that they hate each other, and they murder each other, which was one reason there was a need to have the 10-state solution to stop the warring tribes from slaughtering each other and to try to have some semblance of peace.
Yes, tribes have been fighting for centuries. So have groups of white people been fighting for centuries. But it's never about the color of their skin. It's about land. It's about power of their kingdom. It's about ideology. Seriously, just because people of color are capable of the same power-hungry cruelty as white people and the same cultural loyalty as white people doesn't mean you can add this to any of your arguments. Those are human traits, and they shouldn't be judged harsher in people of color than they are in white people. In other words, your double standard is boring and you need to stop.
And that's something else that seems to poke up during this time, is what I believe he keeps speaking of, is that many people will be fooled. I think it's exact words where the Lord will have the wool pulled over their eyes. But in the bigger picture, that people will believe good to be evil and evil to be good. And we see this happening around the world. People are so brainwashed and indoctrinated because of the suppression of true information on the internet, because of the suppression of information in schools and universities, where professors teach pretty much socialism. I mean, kids go into school and come out Bernie Sanders supporters.
As opposed to what? A Trump supporter? It's almost like teaching people to think critically and to do their own research and not just take in the garbage that is shoveled down their throats makes people more open-minded and intelligent human beings. Imagine that.
It's crazy. I'm scared to even send my children to college with all this going on. I mean, it's just cool. So my webpage is in the description. We are still raising money to feed people, being that the lockdown is still underway, and there are some people that cannot provide for themselves, as you guys all know. The goal wasn't to have South Africans contribute to this. It is people from other countries who are not as bad off that may have money to contribute, but I can guarantee you that it's making a huge difference. I shared on Twitter a screenshot of how much money that we've raised so far, and it was about $700. So, I mean, that makes a huge difference in people's lives, and some of these people, again, would not eat were it not for good men and women on the ground of many different groups, and even individually willing to get food to them, even with the government trying to ban it and wanting this food delivered to government facilities where it will then be distributed to the black community and no white person will ever receive it.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Okay, that's it. It's done. I'm done. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you disagree with me on anything, please let me know in the comments below and we can have an intellectual discourse. I'm always down for that. If you found sources that disprove anything I've spoken about, please send them my way and I will definitely have a look at them, but please also remember to be respectful. If you find something fascist that you want me to respond to, please let me know and send it my way, either in the comments or on any of my social medias. They are linked down below. If you think I did a good job, hit the like button, and if you want more commentary videos from me, or if you want to see my sentimental videos or just my sit down and chat videos, then please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. And I will see you guys next time.